But you know something else, like we talk about people deserving. You know, my pet peeve is like agents talking about how busy they are. You know, that's a pet peeve of mine.
That's not even a pet peeve for you, bro. That bothers you so much.
Talk about a hot button,
Yeah. Hey, that's what they call a trigger.
That's a trigger.
Hey, that's
bro.
a trigger.
That's
Keep it getting triggered.
You know,
What? Busy?
You busy? Ain't nobody busier than me. That's how I feel.
Welcome to the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Keith, Ryan, Harrison, Coalition Properties, and friends talking about the intersection between lifestyle, real estate, culture, art, and everything in between because it all blends perfectly. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of It All Blends Perfectly. I'm Harrison Beecher. This is Ryan Butler. And this is Mr. Keith James, a.k.a. Jimmy Kenneth with the glasses on. Giving out throwing up signs. All right, John. You throwing up signs? Today we're going to have a lifestyle conversation. And as many things within our world happen organically, we were just wondering, like, why do people think that they deserve certain things, be it either a lifestyle or a home, a car, or this, an opportunity, or whatever? And you know, I asked the question, like, who told you that?
Listen. I deserve what this is supposed to be for me.
Blank, right? Yeah.
Who told you this, though?
Like, who told you that, though? Like, where does that come from, you know?
God told you. God told you.
God did.
God did.
And as a fitting, pop culture element that is happening right now, it's connected to it. There's a very popular NBA star that has had some things happen to him as a result of, maybe some questionable decisions. Keith, you wanted to talk about our guy. Who do we want to talk about, and what are you thinking about?
We want to talk about Ja, NBA YoungBoy Morant. And in the words of my favorite comedian, Fred Sanford, you big dummy.
You big dummy.
You big dummy.
Oh.
I mean, first of all, my grandfather used to always say, you are who you hang around, right?
Yeah.
And be aware of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can tell there's some people that's in his camp and in his immediate circle that's not looking out for the best interests of him right now.
Yeah.
And he needs to change his surroundings. Mm-hmm. And also, he young. He has a daughter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And to me, with kids like that right there in itself,
grow up.
You got to grow up. Period. There's no excuse. And when I look at the situation,
and could you describe, if people aren't aware with what's going on with Ja Morant?
Yeah.
Who is Ja Morant?
And what happened?
Well, you should know who I'm just playing.
Where is Ja?
Ja Morant, superstar NBA player for the Memphis Grizzlies, recently got in trouble for waving a gun on Instagram Live back in March. And this is his second time. He did it again over the weekend. And now people are coming for him and saying that the NBA should suspend him or kick him out of the league. This man just got a max contract for over $200 million. Mm-hmm. He signed to Nike. Mm-hmm. He sells a lot of shoes. Well, has started to sell a lot of shoes, right? And it has come up to where, how dumb can you be to waste all that money, right? And you're a superstar for an NBA team, and you have a job to go do, and that's play basketball. And you have people that are looking up to you in a positive light as an NBA superstar.
Yeah. And it's
what Charles Barkley say? I ain't no role model.
I'm not a role model.
Well, I mean, I believe in gentle parenting, but that boy need a whooping.
He need a whooping. Yeah.
That boy need a whole whooping right there, because what he been on recently, and you can even tell, like, when you the best of the best, you're gonna have a certain degree of confidence, if not even
correct. And that's a part of
cockiness
being, and that's a part of the way he plays too.
Yeah.
I just remember him. Someone saw him in it was like a Waffle House or something like that. He said, "Who are you?" He said, "Black Jesus." And it had me rolling, but I was like, I think he kind of believes that,
he really
though.
Do.
Yeah.
Really
like
do.
He believes he's like Black Jesus from He Got Game. Jesus
Shuttlesworth.
Shuttlesworth.
Shout out to He
He
Got
believes he was Jesus Shuttlesworth. That's how you feel out there.
Well, and look, man, here's my problem. If you got enough money, you should be able to pay somebody to hold you down. Like, I should be able to pay somebody to hold me down. If it is my intention to go out every night and have a weapon with me or with us or whatever, for whatever reason, if I got so much to lose, why does that have to be, like, on me, with me? Like, I just think logistically, and granted, he's a young guy, he's not thinking about it in the same way. But my thing is like, dude, And I don't know where in Memphis he's hanging out because we know there are many parts of Memphis. There's
Yeah.
3-6 Mafia Memphis, and there's Justin Timberlake Memphis.
Right.
Right. He got money. He got money. He got money to live in Justin Timberlake Memphis. Are you actually going to hang out in the 3-6 Mafia Memphis right now?
Here's the thing.
Like,
my dad lived in Memphis for like 15, 20 years, right? And you're right. There are different parts of Memphis. But I can guarantee you where he lives, it's the Justin Timberlake part of Memphis, period. And there's 3 things that's wrong with this situation. Number 1, why do these kids always have to record everything?
everything.
That's number 1. We're going to talk about that too. Number 2, why do you feel like you need a gun to make yourself feel more powerful?
Yeah.
Like, why does a gun make you feel more powerful? Number 2. And then number 3, why are you in the car parked with a gun in your lap, listening to NBA YoungBoy turned up, and your friend recording? Like, why are you in that environment?
Why
And
your
you
friend
work over
recording?
$200 million?
You're a multimillionaire.
You're a
And look,
multimillionaire.
even if you want to, there's a whole separate conversation about guns and identity and where they fit in American culture and all that.
Right.
If I want to have guns to have fun with and shoot recreationally and whatever,
Yeah.
you can build a gun range in your house. You can, but like when you are playing irresponsibly, like that's honestly my problem with the gun debate.
Yeah.
Is the people that do dumb stuff like that with it probably shouldn't have one on them. And also,
Facts.
bro, we know where you came from in your life. Like that's come out so
That's
much of
another
this
thing.
too. Like
yeah, and how hard it was he came from Murray State.
Yeah.
You know, and he was, grew up in a great household. He
Yeah.
was not in the streets.
No.
Not from
at
the
all.
hood.
Like a little, not even a little bit. Like
I feel like 8 Mile every time I see him. Like Eminem.
that was the best meme, bro.
Yeah, that was. That
You
was.
came from 2-parent household. What you
did.
doing out here?
Yeah. And so, he made it to the NBA coming from Murray State, mid-major college at that time. And so you're going to just throw it all away.
But my thing is like, what do you actually gain, right? From a cost benefit analysis, whatever. Like, what does he gain from? I keep unloaded in my lap. Like,
I just think he feel like he can't lose.
So it's an invincibility.
It's
Like,
like,
the
he's
invincibility. like-
invincible.
Talk about
so-
that. Talk about
He's
that.
invincible. Like,
Okay.
can't nobody stop him. I'm the best player in the NBA. Now he's not the best player in the NBA. I'm sure he feels like that though.
yeah.
Right.
I'm sure he really
I
feels
mean, and
like
there's
he's the
time.
best
I mean,
player.
I'd say he's top 5 right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not top, maybe
I
not
think
top
he
5. I don't know the numbers,
No,
but
I think he's top 5
He's
in
top
the
10
NBA.
for sure.
yeah,
Top 10 for sure. 5 is a tricky one.
yeah, because of everybody. Yeah.
John
Well,
Morant is the top 5 in the last 2 years in the NBA.
Okay, who is the other 4?
LeBron.
Okay.
Steph Curry.
Yep.
KD.
Yep.
Book.
Come on now.
Devin
Come
Booker.
on now.
To me, Devin Booker and John Morant.
Bro,
Bro, we got a lot of others too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I gave you top.
Well,
Jason Tatum?
Yeah. Jamal
Yes.
Murray, Bradley Beal. I mean,
No,
terms
not
of-
Bradley Beal. Top 5.
From
I
a
love
production
Bradley
and
Beal.
number standpoint and everything.
No, we're
Think
talking
about-
about top 5 superstar. Like, I'm not just saying on the court. I'm talking
Okay.
about like
Franchise
franchise
personality type.
player.
Okay.
I mean,
Trey Young, like, come on.
No,
you
top
got
5.
young boy from New Orleans.
Zion.
Zion.
He hasn't played in 2 years.
You said superstar. He ain't had to play. He's still
He's still
selling
a
shoes.
superstar.
I'm not buying him.
Huh?
No, because he got 400 pounds of force busted through him. Like
I'm not buying those shoes. But top 5, I think Ja is easily in the top 5.
He not. I don't
NBA.
think he's the top 5 players.
on the
I'm
court.
between.
On
I'm
the
gonna say
court.
in the top 7.
I'm gonna put Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy buckets.
Come on, man. Playoff Jimmy.
This man,
Playoff Jimmy.
man don't
He
play
said
for
he
the
said y'all
playoffs.
can have all the guns. You can have all the
this
guns.
man was almost
and-
gonna. He was in MVP talks at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Who?
John Morant was in MVP
Oh yeah,
talks.
for sure.
Yeah.
But he's young. He don't get the MVP
Oh,
talk.
Jokic, man. Come on, bro.
About,
We got
that's what I'm
something
saying. Like
yeah.
it's so much Jokic.
You know what would
Joel
be good?
Embiid.
Oh, okay.
That's actually where John Morant needs to go. He needs to go out to like Denver or Utah somewhere.
Smaller market.
Smaller.
But wait, but Memphis is a
Memphis
small market. He
It just
chose-
got
But it's
different. It got
Memphis.
different
He just
vibe
chose-
though.
he
Yeah. No,
Memphis,
no.
bro.
It's Memphis. What they call it? Memphis Tennessee.
Memphis did.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Oh gosh.
You feel me? Yeah.
Except Crunchy Black dead. Did Crunchy Black die? Is he still alive?
No, Crunchy Black's
I
still
don't know if Crunchy Black's still
alive.
alive.
Yeah, Crunchy Black's still
Oh
alive.
yeah, Stephen
Yeah,
Crunchy
yeah,
Black.
yeah.
Chills like
Yeah, shout no Memphis. Like Memphis is tough, man.
Little
Like,
jigging
it's-
out there, little
Yeah.
jig out
Shout
there.
Lamar Ave, 3rd Street, man. That's I. Like,
Hey, the
I
young
was
boy
off-
from Mississippi just came out with the new jig. It's actually pretty loud, though. Yeah,
I mean, I spent a lot of time in Memphis growing up, man. It's not an easy place to be a superstar at. Like Zach Randolph had to get off too, you know, when he was
sure.
Oh,
No, you
yeah.
got to leave Memphis
gotta
because
leave,
they. I mean, look how many people that really die up in there.
God.
We,
Like,
we
that's
know
the
like
crazy
Young
part.
Dog,
Oh, man.
obviously.
R.I.P. Dog,
But there's
man.
also
Still
like who was that? It was a boxer that got killed. I remember, like a
I know,
world
yeah,
champion,
I
a world
remember.
champion
Yep,
boxer
yep.
got killed there. Just random
Yeah,
stuff, man.
Like,
Like,
Memphis is
Memphis
tough,
is
man.
wild,
Memphis is
bro.
tough.
Memphis
So it's
is-
just sad to see like potential lost. For what? Like, I don't even know what for, right? And the fact that in this current environment, when you're the face of a franchise, you're the face of everything, it's a self-inflicted wound. Like,
It is.
literally. Like,
It is.
you just,
But
and
that
who's
goes
around
back
him
to
holding him down?
what makes him think he deserves the opportunity.
100%.
That goes back to the topic.
Yeah.
It go back to he need a whooping.
He does need a
He
whooping.
really just need a whooping. Somebody need to just come up there and give him a couple
I feel
1-2
bad.
pieces
Yeah.
like
I mean,
back to
what is
back.
his dad? I mean, I don't know.
Where your
I don't
family?
wanna
Yeah.
question
Like he
anything.
need a like my uncle said he need a 20 piece.
Yeah, he does.
20 piece and some biscuits.
Yeah,
Shake him.
real talk.
And look, there's
Real talk.
this salary hit and this lost income and maybe lost other
He
stuff.
don't even care though. He's so rich it don't even matter, bro. It matters, but it don't really matter. Like,
Yeah.
what's the difference between 200 million and 100 million? You know what I'm saying? Like,
He ain't
like,
got all 200 yet.
Facts.
Like,
Facts. But he don't need all 200. I guess that's my point.
I don't know. Yeah, but we're gonna see. I mean,
We gonna find out.
I feel bad for him, but I wish
Wish
there
him the
was
best.
somebody to hold. Like, that's my thing.
Hold
I
him
felt bad for
accountable.
him the first time.
But,
I
it's
still
a sign
feel
that
bad
you need,
for
like,
him.
You need somebody to hold you down. Like, I need someone to hold me down from a physical safety standpoint, and then we talk about trusted advisors, mentors,
Well, I think
people
Waka
in your
Flocka
life.
was
Like,
even was it Waka and somebody else? They were like, man, you don't need your boys around to be carried. Even your boys shouldn't be carrying. You need to hire security.
period.
But the thing is, y'all want to have fun.
Yeah.
Y'all want to have
Yeah,
fun
it's
to be
the fun.
around. He want to do hood rat things with his friends.
Yeah.
Bad things about friends.
Yeah.
That's what he
Yes.
want. He want to do
Yeah.
hood rat things with his friends. You can't do hood rat things with security.
you know
They'll
what's
take
crazy?
your little self up out of there.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the guy that was recording, like, he has history of, like, he's banned from the Memphis Grizzly arena.
That's the same guy.
Same guy.
And he's out in the car, and they're in the
got-
parking
he
lot
got-
hanging out.
Yeah, he was the guy that was with him that punched the dude that he was like, had the charges for.
He's probably and Ja probably out there calling loyalty. I
Yeah.
guarantee
Yeah,
you out
yeah,
there
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Nah, man, I'm loyal.
my
to
mans. That's my
people.
mans,
That's
yeah.
my man in them.
What your
But
man's
the
do?
point of this whole conversation,
Yeah.
actually was to kind of go back to it's like, who, like, why do you think you deserve this?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of like the conversation, like this conversation about John Morant is how we kind of kick this off. But I think we want to go deeper into like even in our own lives,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even in the people that we see in our own environment, even ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Get caught up with the thought of I deserve this.
Yeah.
Like I worked so hard, I did X, Y, Z. I deserve this.
Yeah.
And the question you got to ask yourself is like, why you think you deserve this out of all the people in the world?
Yeah.
Out of all the things that's happening, you deserve this because God did.
Yeah.
You know, because God said you did. Come on now.
I mean, there are societal perceptions of entitlement because that's what it comes down to. Who told you? Why do you believe that there are a certain set of things that you should have that should be available to you? And I think some of it's connected with what people think they've earned.
Right.
And we see this in the real estate space a lot, where there's an expectation on a return of my time, a return of my investment. If I have done 1, 2, 3, then 4,
Yeah,
5, 6 should just come this way. But I know for us, in terms of clients, we're talking about specifically in real estate. Why do people have, or where did it come from, a mismatch expectation on the type of life I should be able to live relative to what I have or what people around me have had before? Like, where does that come from?
Well, I think part of it's going to come from not the complete opposite, right? Because ego is usually covering up for
Yeah.
your
Deficiencies.
yeah,
shortcomings
deficiencies,
or
but also
lack.
like your confidence, your true confidence around it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, if I don't deserve this, that means I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't deserve anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy of
Right.
having those things. So I think from
Insecurities. It's like it's
exactly.
Yeah.
So the ego is covering up your insecurities, and that's a real thing. I
Yeah.
know I battle with it.
Yeah.
And my goal would be not to have it so big that I would risk a $200 million right
Yeah.
deal, but that's a real thing I think across all people's lives.
But also, I think, especially for people of color, folks that haven't had much in excess before, I mean, there's some merit to this concept of fake it till you make it.
Didn't even know it was possible.
I gotta believe it. I gotta see it. I gotta like want it. But then I think there's a gap sometimes that's just not real. Right?
Yeah, I think the gap is when you try to keep up with the Joneses and you're spending your money all the time and you're really not living below your means or at your means because you faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep up with the Joneses because you know she or he got it, so I should have it.
Right.
You know. And also, too, the social media kind of messes up a whole lot around what you think you should have because it's setting false expectations of where you should be in life. You know, you look at a lot of the people that are, you know, the richest people in the world, you know, they weren't rich until the later part of their life. And that was a part of like compound interest, the short-term sacrifice for long-term success of what they did in the beginning to get them to where they are. So it needs to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that the first answer I think we've thrown out to where does it come from and why is external influences, societal influences, and expectations put upon us by the snapshots we see of other people's lives and what they have.
Because keeping up with the Joneses is one thing.
Actually,
So when talking about keeping up with the Joneses, I think the issue is that, and you guys point out really good points about the external influences. That only happens when you focus on what other people doing and not what you're supposed to be doing and what your purpose is in life. You're trying to keep up with other people's purposes. Because you don't know what they've sacrificed, good or bad, to get there.
Yeah.
yeah, you seeing the highlights.
Yeah, you send the highlights. Because that car they have, they could be keeping up with their Joneses too.
Facts.
You don't even know. You're like, oh man, why do you think you come out of college, right? Let me build a little story for you. You come out of college, you make $75,000. That's good money, right?
Very good money.
That's great money.
great
Coming out of college, you're 22 years old, you make $75,000.
That's great money.
Okay, but you got $150K in student loans. Let's call it that, right? Let's call it 100.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Nice, a little hundo or whatever.
Yeah,
You come out,
yeah.
and so then maybe you had a couple credit cards because you know they give you the free credit cards when you get there, and the student ones, all the college, university
On the
credit
yard.
unions
On the yard.
up there. You ain't got no job.
Nothing.
But some type of way you got credit cards. Okay, so now you got $4,000 in credit cards too. So you come out there, and for some reason you think because you graduated summa cum
Lottie.
Laude.
Summa cum laude.
that means you need a brand new car,
Yeah.
a brand new nice car,
Nice car, not just any car.
40, 50. Let me get a little C-class Benz or whatever.
Facts.
Or let me get a little Tesla, little 3.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you just took on a 4-figure car note at that point.
Yes.
That's a 4-figure car note.
Over
Over
$1,000
$1,000 a month.
Facts.
For your car.
And you haven't
you're
even started
depreciating
paying for
asset.
it. And then you're going to get a $2,000, $2,500, maybe $3,000 a month, 1-bedroom apartment in some luxury place. So we're definitely talking DC here.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the city,
So you got $1,000 a month there. You got $3,000 a month there. And you're like, man, I feel broke every month. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
because you are.
Yeah.
You literally
Yeah.
spending $4,000 a month and you haven't even bought any food. You haven't paid for your student loans. And you haven't even taken account taxes.
And you know what, Ryan? And you got the nerve to complain. You got the nerve. Man, I don't. Man.
Ooh.
You got the nerve to complain.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, well, in some ways, I'm disappointed in just how our society has fed that because I feel like that's what people think is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Not even on some like they're trying to force it that way. They just think like this
That's
is
just
what's
what you do.
supposed to
That's
do.
just what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't get yourself in a little basement apartment for $1,200
Facts.
and get you a little $15,000 car, or whatever, and pay $300 a month, right? And actually start to give yourself enough space to build your life.
Yeah.
Because you starting off up at your neck in the beginning.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I know, I feel like y'all have seen this too. You take a client into a place that we acknowledge needs some work, right? Something needs to happen to it.
Yeah.
That initial reaction when they come in and look and they're like, this ain't me,
Not
right?
me.
Like, this ain't me. And we can say to them, anything inside the house can be changed. Like we talked about your situation. You could make this you and long, blah, blah, blah. It is so fascinating. And I feel like over the last probably 2 years, right? As the
Yeah.
market has shifted,
Yeah.
it's either one extreme or the other. You've got folks that are extremely willing and open to
Yeah.
the flexibility, making it work. No, it's not perfect, but I can make it perfect with my budget, whatever. And the folks that, nah, like I refuse to do this based on how this is going to represent me.
It.
Yes. And the identity piece of it, man, especially
Yeah,
with
for
housing, with my car, my housing, my clothes, like all the things that make me who I am and what I choose to show to the world.
Right.
That expectation has just been lifted that it has to look better.
Well, that's a tough piece because the fact that those external things, they're deciding that's what makes them.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you haven't really. You start to sound like an old person. Like, you ain't lived life yet.
We sound so old.
We sound like boomers right now.
Right. And got the nerve to complain.
Back in my day.
Oh my God.
Back in my day.
The struggle. Y'all don't know what struggle is.
Right. What struggle?
Y'all are self-inflicted struggles.
You know what I mean?
But for real though.
I mean,
But it's not like our people. Like, we know people when we were that age that also did that. And in some ways, we did it too in different capacities. I know I've done it.
right.
But it's just sad to see it being done over and over again. It's like, y'all don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I
Right.
promise you don't.
You don't. There's another way.
It's another way.
We'll be like Mandalorian. Like, come on, come get in this little crappy basement apartment. This is the way.
This is
This
the
is
way.
the way. This is what you could learn.
I got one
truth
for
and the
rent, by the
light.
way. Yeah. But I think also when we talk about external factors, I call them factors affecting performance. That was a corporate slang right there. But like, why is it that that's the first thing you see on Instagram too? The algorithm. You got to think about what you're looking at,
You're being
and you
fed.
consume with that. Because if you continue to click on it, that's what's going to pop up. And so you want to keep up with the Real Housewives or whatever, and whatever those
influencers,
reality
man.
influencers.
The world of influencers. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The world of influencers. And some of that stuff be funny. Don't lie, right? Be funny. But like, if you know you're in a place where you're trying to, get to a certain spot in life, you need to consume yourself with different things that are going to get you to that spot.
Yeah.
And it's not going out spending your money and trying to keep up with the Joneses and being in tune with the latest episode of X, Y, and Z. Get you some books. You're talking about signing old. Get you some books. I gave my daughter, oh my God, I gave my daughter Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She just turned 14, so I'm like, man, she looked at me and she was like, what is this? I don't want to read this.
Yeah.
Did she ask which dad was the rich dad and who was the poor dad?
No, she did. She did. But
Dad,
eventually
who's the rich dad
she
here?
was like, because I would put it on the radio every morning, going to taking her to school. So eventually she was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll listen to it.
I know she said Uncle Harrison was the rich dad after going to see the house.
Oh, yeah, Uncle Harrison is the rich
Uncle
dad.
Harrison,
Did you
rich
say that's
dad.
for birthday money too, by the way, Harrison? Oh, all right, yeah. No, yeah.
Had a week. Get a little extra. Rich
Yeah, your house is the biggest house in the world, dog. Got the
Make up
biggest house
for
in
it.
the
I
world.
had to make up for it. My decision. Oh man.
What's the word? I'm the poor dad then, because she like, Uncle Ryan didn't pay me my money.
Asked me, he was like, Dad, can you talk to Uncle Ryan? He paid my money.
Oh,
He got
my bad,
money
baby
yet.
girl. My bad, baby girl. That was an accident.
But it came, though. It
It came with birthday money. Not birthday money
Hey,
like Harrison.
we about to teach you a lesson on compound interest in the tax.
We're going to add interest to that payment. I almost hit
1 week
Ryan
late.
with
I'm gonna do the math. We'll screenshot the math.
Man.
Oh goodness. That's actually great.
That was a good line.
But something else, like we talk about people deserving. My pet peeve is like agents talking about how busy they are. That's a pet peeve of mine.
That's not even a pet peeve for you, bro. That bothers you so much.
Talk about a hot button, a button. hot.
Yeah. Hey, that's what they call a trigger.
That's a trigger,
Hey, that's
bro.
a
That's a lot
trigger.
of trouble
Keep
behind.
it getting triggered.
What?
Busy?
You busy. Ain't nobody busier than me. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And so you can't respond. You can't, answer the phone, pick up the phone, and communicate effectively.
Oh, keep.
And you talking about, you on vacation. Like, what, bro?
Who
What?
money?
They be burnt out.
What's
got
the
a
problem? What's the problem with people saying they
How
burnt
can you
out?
be
man?
burnt out if you ain't never been on fire before? How can you be burnt out and you ain't never been on fire before? That's my quote. You ain't burnt out. I'm burnt out. I'm tired.
You just hot.
You ain't even hot. You ain't even got stuck in the grease yet.
You lukewarm.
You lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
You lukewarm.
Oh man.
So like it's just I just had to release that, man.
Yeah,
You know, just like
that
a
just made me
therapy
think
session.
of Jay. He said, "When your feet cold, mine is sizzling." Like
Man.
it's really on that kind of thing because people in this industry can burn out so fast, man.
Yeah.
Like we know, we literally just had the craziest conversation. I feel like this last couple weeks.
Yeah.
you talking about you got friends. We've seen some of our peers leave the industry.
Leave the industry, yeah.
And
Yeah.
go back to just normal American jobs.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just so fascinating because there was like this perceived lifestyle that's been lived, and then they gave it up. We don't know why. We don't know any of those questions.
There's a lot of
There's
reasons.
a lot of different reasons, super valid reasons, I'm sure. But
Right.
it's just fascinating that that's a thing, though, right?
It is, man.
It's a thing.
It is. This lifestyle thing.
It's a lifestyle thing.
I think when we're asking people where the sense of entitlement comes from, there is a challenge, right? To strike the balance between self-confidence
Yeah.
and a realistic understanding of what is truly deserved versus what is desired, right? Because there's this difference between, should have, want to have, need to have. And again, I want to be very clear that if folks have worked hard, if there's things that they've set on their vision board and wanted their whole life, shoot for it. Be your best you. Be the best you can be. But I think just a mismanagement of kind of the whole equation that makes you that, or that makes you happy or makes you fulfilled, is where we get frustrated. Because
Yeah,
I think
yep.
there can be, folks that are in pursuit of being great or being their best self that put these little pieces into it. And some of those can actually be counter to your long-term success
Right.
if you are hyper-focused on, I can't get this exact thing I want. I can't put this whole package together now.
It's because you're robbing your future. That's what it
robbing your
boils
future.
down to.
You're
And I
right.
think that's when we look at that as you get older, you start just thinking about time differently.
Yes.
I mean, today we was talking about
Yeah.
gray hairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about gray hairs, which will probably be another episode on
Yeah.
aging gracefully as a middle-aged man. But it's just the fact that we see you taking away from your future and adding so much stress to your future self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it just didn't have to be like that.
Right. You already-
and there's
yep,
gonna be
yep.
mistakes you make and all that kind of stuff. And it's better to make mistakes trying to do the right thing than the wrong thing. Because when you try to do the right thing mistakes, at least you can course correct.
Yeah.
And then it'll be better the next time.
You're taking
Even if you
action.
screw
You're
up.
moving. Yeah, like-
when you're trying to do it on the wrong things, it just doesn't move you anywhere.
Nah. Good quote I just found here is, entitlement can hinder personal growth because it limits our willingness to learn, adapt, and work hard for what we want. And, I hear that and I think like, man, folks who, best phrase that comes to my mind is blocking their blessing. Like there can be a really great opportunity in front of you, but because it doesn't align exactly with what you expect you should have right now in this moment, or what, should be available to you in your life based on what you're looking at other people have, you don't see what, is actually possible by taking some steps, taking some substantive action to move forward now. And I feel like it's a balance between with what we do in business and just talking to other folks at different stages of their lives about how do I encourage you to still strive for whatever you want, but also have a very clear understanding of all that it takes to get there and get to that. And don't be immediately discouraged because it takes a lot more to get there.
Right.
Break that down into actions, right? Like the one thing talks about, like, if I got all these big goals, how can I, synthesize that down to sets of concrete, one thing I do every day, every week, every month, every quarter to get there? Because I feel like some folks just can get so overwhelmed by like what it actually takes to achieve that they do nothing, or
Well,
they don't get
they
there.
don't necessarily have the tools for it. I think
Right.
that's part of it. And like we've spent so much time on self-development over the years that that's compounded.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's
that's
compounded.
Man, that's powerful.
Yeah, we've just year after
That's
year,
powerful.
day after day, we're always striving to be the best version of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And not saying we're the best, it's just the best version of ourselves.
Right.
And whatever that is, like we might be 50% there, but it's the fact that we have that as one of our goals and focus. And that's really tough when you don't have those tools or have someone to really talk to you about it or pull that in for you.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes to like self accountability too, right? This is a quote I like. You are the executive director and screenwriter of your life. Like you're the one that's writing this life, and so when it comes to self accountability, you have to
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We trying to figure out how long we've been talking, man. I'm sorry.
We didn't clock the time last time.
We just flowing. We just flowing.
flowing,
It's great.
Yeah, that's how we always have it on the lifestyle window.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's get to going.
But yeah, no, a lot of that goes to self accountability, right? And a lot of times, that's the one thing I try to teach my kids is like, don't point the finger, hold yourself accountable first of your actions, right? And I think that's very important when you talk about those tools and mindset on trying to be better and trying to attain certain goals that are out here for you to get. Because that's a tool that is very powerful. And as soon as you learn self accountability, I think you're going to have more wisdom and more opportunity to grow and learn when it comes to that.
It's a better perspective, man. You the phrase you threw out earlier, Ryan, really kind of rocked me. I wrote it down. Is that there is compound interest on personal investment too.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like some people don't fully think that. They think I'm trying a little bit to invest in myself in one way, or I start financial peace, but I didn't finish it, or I start something and I didn't stick with it. But there is wholeheartedly compound interest on personal investment because it is time on task and it's learning from each time. And even if you don't get an immediate return on something that you're investing in or trying right now, it's the lessons you take from it. Giannis's quote from a couple weeks ago when someone was asking him about failure and how he looks at that differently. I think so much of that has to be repeated to folks that have this sense of like, if I don't get XYZ right now, my living situation, I haven't made it. Right.
The right now. Yeah.
Right
now.
Today.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is like you gotta. I think the best investment you can make is in yourself. I think you get the highest return.
Yeah.
Because even from a financial standpoint, you can take your income from 30,000, 50,000 to 100,000 or more.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can actually do that by just investing in yourself and then doing, even though it's time for dollars, the fact that that's possible, I mean, that's the highest rate of return you can ever get.
Yeah.
Right? Like nothing is higher than being better yourself and then being able to, in turn, go provide that additional value to people out in the world.
Yeah.
So a couple final thoughts to wrap it up. 'Cause I got kind of a nerdy one. I don't know if it's going to land.
Here you
Let me
go.
try. Let me
Go
try.
ahead,
Let me try
try.
something.
Shoot it, bro.
Shoot your shot, bro.
So there's a concept of something called perceptual expectancy. It can be as simple as if I'm eating food. Stick with me now. Stick with me now.
I'm with you.
Stick with
I'm
me
with
now.
you. I'm with
Stick
you.
with me now.
Okay.
If I'm eating food,
Take me there.
got my French fry.
Yep.
See red sauce in front of me. Dip my French fry in that red sauce.
Yep.
What's that supposed to taste like?
French fries
fry and
with
red
ketchup.
sauce.
With ketchup.
Yeah.
But if I put it in ketchup and then it tastes like olive tapenade or something else, that blows your mind, right? Because when I expect something to feel or look or be a certain way and it's different, it's really jarring and shocking. And I think that's connected to what we're talking about today, because when people move to DC, got my $100,000 job,
Yeah.
I'm expecting that I'm going to be at brunch every weekend.
Sunday brunch.
The condo I'm going to come back to, the apartment I'm going to come back to,
City
it's
Center.
going to be great. And that moment when you have a consult with somebody and you break down their budget based on the cash they've been able to save up for whatever reason, what they can afford monthly,
it's
the other day,
mind-blowing.
when that does not align with what they expected,
Yeah.
and then the perception of how that makes them feel about themselves, how that's going to make other people feel about them, there's a moment where they're like, I guess I got to go to the county to get what I want.
Facts.
Or, right? And,
Yeah.
and we got to tell them, like, look, wherever you're, especially from a real estate, from an investment standpoint, for most folks, that opportunity and that choice to purchase is still the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You can still participate in all the lifestyle stuff you want, but getting exactly what you want or expect or think you should have right now might not be within the budget. But what do we say? Right now. Right now.
Yeah.
And by you pivoting and saying like, all right, I'm just going to go rent that city center, that wharf,
Yeah.
that brand new, that whatever 4 or 5 G's a month to get that lifestyle from a renting standpoint, that further defers your opportunity to own something that matches up with what you think you should have. So
Facts.
perceptual expectancy and that misalignment is a really powerful thing because it throws people off when they get something different than they were expecting or thought they should have.
You took me
Yeah,
there,
like
bro.
Harrison, when I eat Ethiopian food, I expect it to taste like Ethiopian food.
And not
When
lies.
Harrison eats Ethiopian food, it tastes like lies. That's a reference. That's a reference to the last episode.
Hey, man. Yeah, that is wholeheartedly what I expected to take like
Oh
at
my
that time.
God.
But like I said, that's a me problem. Love our Hop and Shop family all over. I just can't do it in general.
So, I mean, I think that here's what I would take from this, and this is a little bit different too. Most of the problem is people are playing a finite game. And that means they
Yeah.
think they won. Because in Fight Night game, you win or lose in a very short period of time. And when you're playing a Fight Night game and then you think you won and you find out you didn't, that's a really tough thing to come back from. Because 100, you come out of college, $100,000, you think you won.
Yeah.
And then you find out you did. Right. So by playing the infinite game, that's playing a game that the only way you lose the infinite game is you stop playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's this a little bit of laziness I think I see out there. I'm not trying to get all too crazy into it, but I just hear people like, I just want to invest and not work, not do nothing, and like, they talk what the Bible said, man don't work, man don't eat.
Man don't eat.
Faith without works.
So I'm out there. I'm like, I think even Lil Baby had on the episode, he's like, what billionaire you know that don't work?
Facts.
Can't name none.
At all.
So if you want to build wealth, you still have to continuously work.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Love it. Any final thoughts on this whole convo?
Yeah, it's a couple of different things. That was a good conversation around, the Ja Morant situation. And I just want to say, for people that are trying to be successful, be aware of your surroundings. And if you want to be in a certain place at a certain amount of time, hang with people that are like-minded people that are trying to get there as well. I think you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with, right?
Yep. Spend the most time with.
Spend the most time with, and choose to spend your time wisely. And on the keeping up with the Joneses, you talk about compound interest, short-term sacrifice for long-term success, and making sure you're making those sacrifices, you're making those investments, and what somebody else may have, it may not be for you right then and there, and what's for you is for you. And I always believe that.
Love it. Outstanding conversation, guys. The way you can stay in touch with us at All Blends Perfectly, we have an Instagram page at All Blends Perfectly. This gentleman is at Keith James Realtor. Ryan is at Ryan Butler Hoya. I am at HL Beach, and our sales team is at Coalition Properties. Best thing you can do for us is engage with us, subscribe on YouTube, but please share it with all your friends. Give us a like and a comment below so more folks can engage in the conversation with us. And please come back and join us next time on the All Blends Perfectly podcast.